finally at the final clip of this Let's Play. This definitely took longer than I was expecting. And that feels odd to say since the game hasn't been anywhere near as obnoxious with its padding as the other two Metroid Primes. Well, hello there. Really? No species name, no description of just what it is we killed here. I'm seriously curious what this thing is, just like I was curious about the thing that tried to swallow us in the previous clip. And I'm pretty sure those two things only show up once in the entire game. Okay, the way forward from here isn't immediately obvious. Right, going down is still the way to go for now. Please tell me that Dark Samus is close to here. Can we get some kind of hint of how far away we are at the moment? Well, that thing in the center of the room looks pretty distinctive, but then we've seen a number of distinctive things as we go further and further into this Phazon planet. As if I needed more evidence that the Metroids just don't work the same way they have in every other game in the franchise. That one didn't seem to do anything to our health bar, positive or negative. I only bothered getting it off us because it was kind of obscuring our view. And again, we have more Metroids coming out of nowhere because apparently we need to treat one of the most iconic creatures in the franchise as a discardable grunt for this game. What were they thinking? They honestly could have gotten away with not having any at all, and that would have been better than how they've been using them. Sure, it's in the title, and they have been in an absurd number of games in the franchise, but much like Ridley, you don't need them to make the game feel like Metroid. And great. Now I'm even more tempted to at some point look through the Castlevania franchise, and some people say that series is pretty similar to Metroid. At least, once you get to the Symphony of the Night. Good God, there are way too many things I'd like to get into, and only so much time for me to record or work on the commentary for in a given day. Right, already gotten tired of jumping from one end of the room to the other, trying to kill the thing floating in the center of the bigger thing in here. Why doesn't this thing have its own visible health bar? It certainly deserves it, considering how much abuse they've taken from the goddamn Hyper Beam. Hell, I'm pretty sure a good number of bosses through the game didn't have this much health. Son of a bitch. Please don't tell me I'm gonna die in here. This is taking way too much time. Is this room seriously going to take up more time than our fight against Dark Samus that's been getting built up for the entire damn game? Seriously, this is getting absurd. the center of the room is destroyed. I can't really appreciate the amount of health it restored because we lost more than we regained in here. And again, we're going to be fighting Dark Samus, the main boss of the game. A boss that I'm really hoping feels like one of the most awesome bosses in this game. And there she is. It's certainly been a while since we've been face to face. Well, if her only weakness right now is hyper-mode attacks, then I have some bad news for her. We're too corrupted to use anything other than hyper-mode attacks. Okay, that health bar is going down a lot faster than I'd like, and I shouldn't be saying that when fighting the final boss of the game. Sure, she's got more phases, but considering the speed bump before we got to her, I was expecting this to be a tense duel with an equal. At the very least, I certainly loved that feeling when we did Metroid Prime 2. Dear God. Why the hell am I wishing I was fighting her back in the previous game? Considering I didn't get the feeling, even when we were fighting Ridley, that we were going through a very tense battle with an equal, that might have just been letting my hopes get too high, considering how combat is felt in this game as a whole. That said, this is still a damn good track we've got in the background as we're fighting her. One of the best background tunes in the game, arguably better than what we heard when we were fighting Rundus. So yeah, credit where it's due. Speaking of, is it just me, or do some of their attacks feel suspiciously like Rundus's attacks, mixed in with attacks she had in the previous game? I'm just feeling way too many of the aspects around here feel a bit rushed and needed some more time to cook. Though, maybe I'm just losing my mind there. Our health is certainly staying steady while hers is getting chipped away. The only things really slowing us down are her moments of invulnerability and how she moves in ways that break our lock-on. Well, her attempts to heal in the middle of the fight certainly aren't going well for her. Still, she's keeping the fight going despite the disadvantage she's got. She's putting up a heroic fight here. The problem is it shouldn't feel heroic since she's the bloody villain. This just feels way too one-sided in our favor considering my not especially high skill level. Am I just not giving myself enough credit? Get it? You love making shadow clones. Hell, the first time you did it in this fight, it looked cool. That the shadow clone of the hero made more shadow clones to try to gain an advantage somehow. But I can honestly say, as a veteran of the Clone Wars, you need a lot more than that to turn the tide here. Well, her health bar's down. Now what? Oh, the Aurora unit they stole from the ruins of the Valhalla. I'm sorry. Is Dark Samus honestly entering that bargain bin mother brain in order to try fighting us, since taking us on directly seemed to go worse for her here than ever before? Because I've got to say, I would have preferred if they just made the fight against Dark Samus directly feel better than give her another phase where she's effectively piloting the biological supercomputer. The hell? Before now, they never even hinted in this game that an Aurora unit had any way to defend itself in a fight. Just why is this the next form of our final boss? And great. New Shadow Clones are even more fragile than the ones we were dealing with less than a minute ago. Come on, girl, are you seriously gonna make this final clash against you something this oddly impersonal at the end of it? I mean, sure, I can kinda see where the game designers were going with this. As I said, there are aspects that remind me of Mother Brain, the major villain for Pirates in two of the 2D games. Unfortunately, this sort of thing needs more build-up to it. It shouldn't just happen as the next section of a boss fight for the sake of keeping things going for a little bit longer. And apparently my biggest issue right now is my own lack of precision, as we have to hit the specific points of the constantly bouncing around head within a short span of time. And once we caught that health bar damaged, it went down in a very big hurry. Why the hell are the boss's health bars going down that fast when the creature in that bloody roadblock wasn't taking that kind of damage from these same guns in this same clip? I'm feeling kind of insulted considering how the build-up to the final boss went through the rest of the game and the rest of this final planet. And the big guy is stunned again. And we've taken out another massive chunk of health. The third time should be the charm, and frankly, I think that Dark Samus should just surrender and retain some measure of dignity. She came across as just so much more menacing and powerful in the previous game, and she didn't have the ability to control an army back then, so that seems a bit ridiculous. Sure how this new form of attack is supposed to be all that troublesome to deal with. Huh. Why didn't she try to use the boost ball to attack us back when she was taking us on personally? It certainly would have gotten some good hits in. And that does it. We're finished with the final boss fight of the game. It could have been a hell of a lot worse, but the problem is that I was expecting a good deal better. But just how is killing Dark Samus this way supposed to keep her down for good when she's come back from frickin' particles multiple times already? Oh, my mistake. We've got another phase to this fight for some reason. I probably should have guessed, since we apparently dealt with 2 other phases, and Nintendo really likes to do 3-phase deals if it isn't just a one-shot and you're done. Really wish the lock-on worked better in this game. I'm sorry. Why do you think spinning is a good trick? You're just making it easier to shoot you in the back of your oversized head. And great, now I'm thinking of the brain fight from Star Fox 64. That somehow felt like a better boss than this third form of the final boss of this much longer game. Anyway, I don't think stunning this one really does much of anything to help us, really. Not with the short amount of time that floating head stays still when it's stunned. Less than half of the third phase's health left, and we've still got a little over half of our health left. Assuming I'm reading our yellow bar correctly here again. Why did they have to give us an entirely different health system for the final section of the game? Shite, that's another health bar down. Are you feeling dead yet? Am I supposed to be feeling any kind of tension here about Samus possibly being overcome by the Phazon inner veins after all that? Again, not the first time we've seen Dark Samus die, and I'm seeing nothing to suggest that this should be the time when it sticks. Wait, so the Phazon in our blood just spontaneously ceased to exist the instant we took down Dark Samus in this particular... Yeah, they really needed a lot more time to work on how to execute a lot of the things in this game. Still, this game didn't have anything that was brokenly bad or frustrating in too much of a way like back in Prime 2, so still kind of feels like a smoother ride than that game. Anyway, back to the Federation, because apparently, like with Prime 1, we can't be bothered to have an escape sequence for some reason. Yet another sign that things were rushed here. Samus has blown up quite a few planets in smaller locations over the years. This doesn't really feel earned, it feels obligatory. Well, it's a good thing that forming that portal is so quick. And that the Federation ships can so easily break off from combat, turn their tails on the enemy and escape with little trouble. Remind me again how this is supposed to be an epic conclusion to the Metroid Prime trilogy. Just because I've seen worse endings to a trilogy like Mass Effect 3, it doesn't mean they could have done better. Dear God. Right. Of course the portal shut that fast, and of course they're gonna have to try to make it seem like a close shave for Samus.
Damage reports coming in. We've lost 37% of the fleet. Half of the surviving ships are reporting heavy casualties.
I'm pretty sure that counts as a naval disaster.
Has disappeared. All the Leviathans are gone. The crisis is over.
What about Samus?
Just felt like a long day at the office to me, not really a crisis. But then we're pretty used to seeing Samus survive some especially rough situations over the years. Certainly rougher than anything the Federation ever trained for, apparently. As if the Admiral would be able to see that thumbs up.
Transmission from Samus's ship.
It honestly would have been hilarious if we got to see the bill and heard the Admiral gawk at it a bit. Sure, that's something that Star Fox actually made a joke of, and might not actually fit with Metroid, but I'd still laugh. Wait, why the hell did she come back to Elysia of all places? I hate that planet! I'm sorry, but we didn't interact with the 3 other hunters enough to make a scene of Samus remembering them have all that much emotional impact. I guess this is the special scene I unlocked for this game. A scene where we just see some repeated footage of things we already saw. And while I did like Grundis to a degree, Gore and Gandreda felt like complete throwaways. Sorry, Samus, I just can't really share in your sorrow that they didn't make it. Maybe because I've seen too many comrades die over the years.
With the death of the planet Phase, Samus Aran's arduous fight against Phazon has ended. However, in the vast regions of space, this victory is just a twinkle of a star, spreading the light of hope through the darkness.
Hold on, that felt like a lot longer than 10 hours to me. And that's coming from a guy who had access to a fast forward button the entire playthrough.